Hey guys, so welcome back to Real Talk. Today I'm going to be reflecting on a letter I wrote to myself when I got hired for the administrative job that I just finished my first year. So I just kind of wanted to go down the bullet points and reflect and see, did I really do those things or was it unrealistic? Was I like, oh my gosh, I should so do this when I'm an administrator? And it's like, oh, that's cute, but not happening. But I wanted to go through them because I want to keep this as like a time capsule and I never want to forget this because all of these things, it doesn't really matter if I'm an administrator, it doesn't matter if I'm a classroom teacher or what I'm doing in education or any role. I want to stay real. It's very important to me. So in my letter, in the R section, I talked about building relationships first. Oh my gosh. That was the foundation of everything I did this year. And one of the coolest tools I used was R.E.A.L plus the Innovators Compass. So Ella Ben created this Innovators Compass to guide conversations and to help you get unstuck. And I wanted to use that tool for building relationships, which sounds kind of crazy, but it worked beautifully. And I have a website link below so you can go check it out. But I used it with my coaches and I learned so much about them in a short amount of time that when I went out and visited with them, I was able to check on them and see, like, what are you cannonballing in the water to do and how's that going? So building relationships was definitely a key piece of my first year as the rookie admin. And I feel like it did a pretty good job. I had a performance survey at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year and at the end. And I feel like the 250 educators I worked with overwhelmingly had a very positive experience with me and felt like their voices were heard and I was very transparent with them. So I think that worked out all right. I think I could probably always do better, but it was pretty good experience. So one of the things I talked about in the R2 is that great leaders empower more leaders. This was really huge for me this year, and I really wanted my instructional coaches to become those instructional leaders that I knew they could be, and they rocked it. Like all of them have presented at a conference now, well, our district conference, which is huge, and many of them have applied to present at conferences for next year. So I'm super proud of them stepping out of their comfort zone. Many of them started their own blog, their own website, professionally reflecting on there. And I feel like they also empowered their teachers, the teachers that they serve, to do the same. We have several teachers that started their own website. We had several teachers present at our spring conference. I also had a student who led PD with me. She taught book snaps alongside me this year. And a fifth grade student at Indian Hills, she totally rocked it. I wish I could take her on the road with me. She's fantastic. So I'm hoping that the district will continue to use students in their professional development. That was the first time for them, and she owned it. So there were several that wanted to be a part of that, and I hope that continues. Now, when I move into the E, exposing vulnerability, oh my goodness. I made so many mistakes. So many, like not a jillion, but close. And I think that's what it's all about. I was super transparent with the people that I lead, and I was super transparent with my admin team and constantly reminding them that, you know what, I'm still learning and I'm going to do better. Like every time I learn more and do better. So you know better, you do better. And I also shared my passions and my quirks. It wasn't uncommon for me to bring fidgets to admin meetings. It wasn't uncommon for one of my coaches made me a fidget. It's fantastic. It's crocheted with these little beads inside of it. So sharing who I was, my passion, my vulnerability was very much a part of me in this first year. And I think it really helped me to build relationships, honestly. Approachable. One of the approachability strategies that I tried this year and I loved, I protected time on Thursday and Friday mornings to do drive-bys. Drive-bys are not what you're thinking. They are when I went out to the buildings and visited my coaches on their turf and got to have that face-to-face conversation, on-demand coaching, coach the coach kind of conversations, and it was just powerful. I learned a lot during those times, way more than I could learn in our structured meeting times. And I felt like I was able to understand the culture of the buildings. Another thing is I would stop by and visit students and teachers on my DCC teams. And so it was another way to build relationships too, just being out in their world, feeling what they feel, doing what they do. I got to co-teach some book snaps. I got to co-teach some phonics. It was a lot of fun. And so I was out in the world with the teachers and students, and I'm thankful for that. The L, learning through life. Well, I'll just say right now, this whole role was a learning experience for me. I was driving a speedboat and I had to learn to drive a pirate ship, and you just turn like one little dial at a time and you barely move. Like, I had to learn that moving a system is like moving a pirate ship, and it's not fast. It takes time, but it's so worth it. Another valuable lesson that I learned is just that the structure of things is so important and all the moving parts. I think I never zoomed out quite that far to be able to see all those things that are moving. And, people at the central office aren't just always trying to make your life miserable. There really are so many moving parts. But what I found to be super important is because when I used to think the central office was really just making my life miserable, I just didn't understand some of the parts. So I started overtly sharing those things with those that I lead. Like, it's not that we're not working on it. We are waiting on 3 different moving parts to be solidified before we can answer this question. But we hear you and we're working on it. Another thing I found to be super, super important is just that teacher voice. We had to do some adoptions this year, and I did surveys and I checked with them, and I allowed them time to view the materials. And at one point they were like, Tara, we didn't have enough time, and we don't feel like we can make a really good decision. So I pushed everything back and we waited until they felt like they could make a decision. And I think that was super important. It pushed things back a little bit for me, made my workload a little bit heavier, but it was worth it to me to hear their voice and to make sure that it was valued. Another piece that I found to be super helpful is, what did they want for professional development? What I thought they needed and what they really needed was different. And so we changed things around. We gave them some choice sessions. They wanted to use technology in the classroom more meaningfully, so we changed the professional development to fit their needs and got such great feedback on it. And not only that, so many of the teachers were taking it to action and to impact. So honestly, I learned a lot of things about being a rookie admin. Do I think I'm an expert? Absolutely not. But all the things I wrote to myself in my letter that I wanted to be able to hold true to, I feel like I did hold true to those. And so moving forward, I'm going to be starting a new role again, and I'm super excited about it, but I have a lot to learn. In fact, I've already kind of butchered one of my first big assignments. So I am just back into that learning mode, never plateauing, never settling for less than stellar. And when it's less than stellar, like, what did I do wrong and how will I do it again better? And so no matter what role I am in education or in life, I want to stay real, relatable, expose vulnerability, always approachable, and learning through life. And boy, has this rookie admin gig been amazing. So thanks for listening. And this is really just for my time capsule video vlogging. So thank you again. Have an awesome day.